to this OCR Cambridge Technicals Level 3 in Information Technology video. In this video we're going to look at Unit 6. This is Application Design and Criteria P6, which says gather client and or user feedback on the prototype. So this builds directly on top of P5 where you've just created the prototype of your app, and then you either go to the client, the person who asked you to make the app, or you go to the users of the app and you ask them to feedback on what they think. So you're collecting their views, their opinions, and you're recording this. And this basically provides the evidence for P6. So let's have a look at what the syllabus guide says. And then obviously, as with all the other videos, I'll show you some examples. So in the unit guide, we've got some information on page 9. And it says the learner must collect client or user feedback. They should provide evidence of collecting the feedback together with a summary of the outcomes from the feedback. So in order to do this, what I would suggest you do is create some kind of questionnaire or survey, and you keep a copy of that. You then use that to collect in the answers, and then you present the answers or the feedback, and that will provide you with P6 content. Let's have a look at what you need to cover. So we're looking here at P5, aspects for user feedback. So these bullet points here set out what you should be asking, or the areas that you should be asking the client or the users about. So for example, do you think that the app meets the core requirements? You may need to share these with the users because obviously they won't have insight into the requirements. How effective is it? Is it usable? And how easy is it to learn how to use the application? Now these are just headers or areas, so you can break them down into further information further questions in order to make them more accessible. For example, something like usability. How easy is it to carry out an action? Rather than ask them a question about usability, it might be easier and more simple to have a question along the lines of, on question 1, how do you answer question 1? Or which point and show me on the app a feature that allows you to answer a question. And what you're asking them to do there is to obviously to recognize that you click a button. So it's a bit more specific, but it allows you then to gather the data more easily rather than just having the generic usability, effectiveness, learnability and core requirements. And then whilst we're here, we'll have a look at 4.6. So in terms of the feedback and the analysis you have to do, these are the 3 areas that the exam board are looking for. So if we have a look at some student example work, there's a number of ways you can do this. I'd recommend you use some kind of table structure because it's easy to then display and identify common themes. In the example you've got on the screen there, you can see that in this P6 testing, what they've done is they've asked questions about core requirements for each different person, and they've asked for, basically listed what the core requirements are here. So this is directly from the design brief, P2. They then asked John Smith for positive information about this, and then negative information, and then they've suggested some improvements. Then they've done the same for Nick, Kobe, and so on. And then what they've done is looked at the design. So in this one, they've actually combined them rather than do them separate ones. So looking at the design, uses a variety of colours and has a standard design. John Smith thinks that the bright colours make it stand out a bit more, and the layout is quite nice and simple. The buttons are square, it could have been curved edge. Additionally, the app does not have a title that would make it look better. So that's the design. There's the learnability. Okay. And then we've got suggested improvements at the end. Suggested improvements are based on these improvements that they have included in this section here. Let's have a look at another one. So in this one, they have again done the same. They've listed the person's name, the 5 core requirements, then they've got them to comment on them. They've done that for each of the people. Then they've gone design, the navigability, simplicity, readability, clarity of the display, learnability, and then again they've come up with some suggested outcomes. Okay, so the key to this is that you want to cover those areas that are in the guide. Okay, so make sure you cover these areas. You also want to show that you've collected the feedback. So here's the evidence, collecting the feedback, and then you are responding to the outcome. At this stage, you don't have to make any changes. That comes later on in M3, but it's probably a good idea to summarize what the improvements are, or summarize what the changes are that you would potentially make to the app based on the feedback from the individuals. Okay, thanks for watching. Next up will be Emerit 1.